Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Learning with ISDev. I have come up with another video which deals with this mini project. So let's have a look on this. Now we'll have a quick look on this assignment project. Here we go. In this video, I will be showing you how to set the logo on launch screen and make the screen rest for few seconds. Along with this, we will be working with the UI table view and how we can integrate the API. Along with this, we will be working with the delegate of UI table view like UI table view delegate and UI table view data source. So let's get started with our launch screen. So I have this launch screen, and in this launch screen I will be setting one UI image. So click on this add button and here search for UI image view. So we have got this image view. We'll take this image, drag drop in our screen, and we'll set the constant for this as we have set for this logo: height, width, central and vertical to our container, that is view. So for now I will remove this, and for this logo I have set the image property, that is image for this one is Apple logo. This is inside our Xcode only. Let me show you. When I delete this, you can say the image view is empty. Now we'll be searching for the Apple logo. So you can see this Apple logo. Will select this, and now I have given the color as black color, tint color, and for the background I have given the clear color. You can change the color to any for the logo as yellow, red, any, but for now I will set it as black color. So we have done with setting the logo on the launch screen. Now we'll move towards to make the screen rest for a few seconds. So let's open the app delegate file. Inside this did finish launching with option, we'll be writing thread.sleep for interval for time interval 2. So this 2 indicates that our screen will be resting for 2 seconds. As thread and sleep, it makes our current thread to sleep for 2 seconds, as we have passed 2 as a parameter for this, and we have written this piece of code inside this did finish launching with option because this is the very first method which is going to execute when our application will be executed or when we run our application. So this is the process to set the logo on launch screen and make the screen rest for a few seconds. Now let's move toward the UI table view. In the main storyboard, this is view controller, and inside this view controller I have set one view, and inside this I have taken one table view and set the constraints for this. So the constraints are area, safe area, trailing, leading with the safe area, area bottom means bottom area of this, and for top I have set. So for this I have set the trailing, bottom, top, leading as 5 only. So I will show you for this one. You can see this small one, so I will zoom this and I will double click. So you can see I have set this as 5. Similarly for the trailing and bottom and top also, and you can see I have set this center x, so it is middle to our view. I have set the constraint for this table view like this. Now inside this I have a cell called data cell, and inside I have this uh, checkbox. So for this I have set the button only, and on click it will be changing like any if you want to. And here I have set one table view and the label with the title and label. So it will be a description for our API which we'll be using in our code. Now let's move towards the view controller. I have created one IB outlet with the variable name table view as a instance of UITableView. So you can see we have UITableView delegate, UITableView data source, and when we include this in our view controller, we have to use the protocol stubs which are mandatory. These are the self row at and number of row in section, this one. So these two are the mandatory. Now as you can see, I have created one variable with the hero stat. So when we jump to this, you can see I have set some properties inside this: name, primary attribute, attack, and this. These are from the API which I have used. Now let's use this. So when we are using this number of rows in section, so when this will be returning the number of rows which will be there in our view or table view. Now let's move towards the cell for row add. So inside this cell for row add, I have created one variable cell, and I have assigned the table view dot deque reusable cell with the parameters with identifier and for. So this data cell which I have passed over here, it should match the identifier which we have given to this cell and the property identifier data cell. So you can pass this in the our deque reusable cell for this, and you can see it is giving us data in table view cell. So when we are jump to this definition, we can see the UI table view cells with the variable name I have created for the IB outlets that are image data for image UI view, title data and description data for the UI labels, and checkbox for this UI button. So inside the action of that checkbox button, I have given some if else condition to show the square and check mark. So we will move to this is button selected. I have created the global file, and inside that global file I have created this is button selected variable with the boolean data type, and if it is false it will be giving square checkbox, and if it is true we will be getting the check mark. And accordingly we have set the true and false if either of the conditions are met. Now before moving towards this title and for cell data, we need to know from where the hero dot localize name and this hero dot primary attribute and all this hero dot images we are getting. So we are getting this from the API. Now let's move toward to know where we have downloaded the JSON. So this is a function download JSON, and inside this function I have made the network call to get the data from API. I have created one variable named URL, and you create the URL object representing the URL of the open data API, and this hero stats means this one. So let's move towards this line which indicates that we have initiate a data task using the URL session class with the shared one, and this method takes URL and closure to execute when the task is completed. So the closure takes three parameters: data, the data received from the network call, and the response, the HTTP response of the metadata, and the error if any occurs. So we'll be checking for any nil. And inside this do catch block, I have tried to attempt the decoding the JSON data into an array of hero stat object. If the decoding is successful, this self.hero updated with the property which we have decoded from the JSON. And after that, in this main thread, we have written the completed. So it is important to call the completed or any completion action of our JSON URL or any API call inside the main thread only, because this is a updation of a UI and it should be done inside the main thread only. So finally, after that, you can call the resume method on this data task, and this starts the network request, and it is asynchronous. And once it is completed, we have the data from our JSON. Now, we'll be calling this you and check the callers of this function, that is download JSON data. And inside this, I have reloaded the table view. So let's move towards the cell for row again. So from you are now well acquainted with where we are getting this localized name and all the data. Now, for this image URL, we have only the URL. The image is yet to be processed. So, we'll be downloading this image data from this image URL. So, for that, we have the function downloaded data. Now, jump to the definition, and inside this, we have again the URL, and we'll be passing this URL to download the image. And again, we'll be using the URL session class, the shared instance of that, the task. And inside this, we have three parameters: the data, response, and error. So it is the condition which has to be met. It has the image as a prefix, and status code should be 200, error should be nil, and we should get the data from that particular image URL. And once it is done, we'll be again using the main thread to assign this self.image as image, and we can get the image from this block of code. So again, let's move towards the cell for row, and here we have assigned the image to this. Now you can see in this line I have given the cell dot selection style as none. So it is like कि when we are selecting any cell, so it gives a gray color background. If anyone wants that, you can give, or you can also manipulate that by giving any style which is there. So let's go and check what kind of styles we have dot. So the colors are there, and none will be giving none only for this for time being, and this will return a whole cell when this whole all processing is done. Now let's move towards the did select row. I have given some if else condition. If we get the square and we are clicking on that particular button or cell, so we have the alert box which says please enable clicking on checkbox. So when we click on that checkbox, it changes to the tick mark, and we go to the else condition, and there we come across the alert that the description data and the primary attribute and name, and when we click on that, it is dismissed. So this is it with our mini project of setting a logo on launch screen, giving a launch screen a rest of few seconds, integrating the API, and working with the UI table view with the protocol stubs which are mandatory. These are the cell for row and number of row in section. Also, as I have said, we will be looking for the height for row. So we have given the height according to the phone and iPad, and for the iPhones we I have set to the 120, and for the iPad I have set 200. So this is the UI device current user interface item. So using this, we can give the sizes. If we want to give in a specific iPhone size, we can give to that. And if we are using iPod touch, so that means we are getting the height as 80. So that's it for the video. If you like my video, click on like, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching.